What was Viking Beauty like 1,000 years ago? In this time of modernization, where Botox and duck faces seem to be the normality in certain circles, I think it's very important to ask ourselves what beauty really is. All right, I'll do this from a historical angle, okay? Can we learn something from the Vikings? We used to live just down here, the king's palace. Well, let me start with the Greeks, the ancient Greeks. The thing is, just like with the Vikings, the ancient Greeks, they had this thing for beauty. And is there really, like the Greeks talked about, is there really a thing called objective beauty? Because in all this time we live in now, with where everything is relative, right? There's this relativism movement. It's very progressive going on, you know. You don't have to trust science, you don't have to trust books, you don't have to trust history, because you can just think of yourself, think for yourself, make up your own mind. And this has happened before. and people, younger people especially, seem to not know about their roots. That's what I'm trying to do here with this channel. Talking about history, talking about Vikings, telling people you don't have to be afraid to have roots, to be proud of your roots, whatever your roots are. Okay? And in this relativism, this time of, you can just put everything the way you want. I think it's very dangerous, because if you don't have, just like a tree, you know, if you don't have roots, I mean, you fall over. And what has this to do with beauty? Well, the thing is, can we look at what the Greeks, the ancient Greeks, or the Vikings, the way they looked at beauty, and try to learn something from that? Was that more in harmony with life, with nature, with even in society, than what we're experiencing today? They're beautiful, right? This bridge and this park is quite famous in Norway, in Oslo. The most visited place in Oslo, actually. The Greeks, they had this, as I mentioned, its golden ratio. It was 1 to 1.618, I believe. And that was how they built, how their architecture was, how they measured beauty. Leonardo da Vinci also had the universal man, the Renaissance man, right? The ideal, how he should be as a full man. And there's a father beating his son. This is classical, mind you. And this whole concept of beauty that the Greeks had, it was something that was very important for many generations and many centuries. And the Vikings, man, to be a real man or a woman, you had to not just act and dress and breathe properly. The Norse sagas, they're full of, he had such good hair, he was beautiful to look at, he was strong, he was athletic. All right, all of that, all right, that's part of that warrior tribe, clan culture. But also, they had something more. To be a fulfilled human. If you were able to speak with a good tongue, if you were able to be smart and give good advice, that was something that's mentioned in the sagas, right? As part of the traits of a man. If he had honor, like most Vikings sought to have, if you had virtue, if you had resilience, that's equally good as being good in war. And all of that is pivotal, vital in understanding the whole concept of what was beauty, in a sense. Because it was a sort of a fulfillment. And I mention this because I asked you to be a man today, or a woman, a human. Is that something that is that used to be more natural many generations ago, or just a few decades ago even? And I see so many young people around me out today, especially in cities, without any roots. I mean, they go around there, hipster style with a man bun, and they're all using tattoos of all different kinds. You know, it's just really, it's not in balance. It's not in harmony. To me, it's not natural, and I see too many of them. They don't have an alternative. They don't know. And I'd like to perhaps help with that if I can, you know, just by talking with more people on this topic. I don't think beauty is something superficial. I'm sure you have understood this. It's something that goes deeper. It's something to seek after. It doesn't have anything to do with duck face or having these and these clothes and stuff like that. And the Vikings, they were materialistic in a sense. They had they all wore out a comb and they bathed every Saturday, right? They wore gallant clothes, and we know farmers in England and peasants, they were being yelled at by the bishops and priests in their churches for taking on the latest Viking beard fashion. And imagine that. I think that's kind of telling, because that's from contemporary sources in England, right? Anglo-Saxon. That tells you something about Anglo-Saxon women, I guess, and how what they thought of these Vikings. It's food for thought in a sense, yeah. And if beauty is something abstract or something objective, then I guess you can say this is beautiful. You know, this is perfect, like in music, in classical music, or it's resonance. But it has to be a resonance with something, not just with some reference, something you saw on the internet or on TikTok. You know, it's TikTokery. Yeah. And if you don't agree, you think beauty is something relative, then how can you really have taste? How can you say that this is beautiful, this is not beautiful? Everything is grey then, in a sense. And I believe there is some classicism, you say that? Something classical. You seen this guy? It's very famous. He has been stolen twice, actually. The Sinnataggen, he's called. The angry little boy. Yeah. Well, I think this... I don't know how to... I hope this passes on YouTube, by the way. The thing is, we might need to go to the classics. We might need to be a little bit conservative in thinking, because No doubt people have been thinking beforehand, before us, and I would like to address that, because we shouldn't forget that it's part of our roots, right? So yeah, and if we can discuss this, if you talk about it, nothing is better. Nothing is better. So if you like this video, thanks for subscribing. And I've been told it's really smart of me to upload a lot of content and videos and photos and stuff to my Patreon page. So I've done this, and there's a link down below, and if you'd like to, I'll see you there. Take care.